The hospital doors hissed open, and Nicholas Reed walked through them still wearing his charcoal boardroom suit, his tie already loosening with one impatient hand. His CFO and oldest friend, Walter, had just had a heart attack. Nicholas didn't rush for many things in this world. He rushed for Walter. At the front desk, the receptionist recognized him instantly. "Treatment room 4, she said. "Family only, but I'm sure they'll make an exception for you." Nicholas barely heard her. Walter had been there since the beginning, back when Reed Enterprises was nothing but an idea and a rented office. He was the closest thing Nicholas had left a family. He turned down the corridor, and that's when his whole world tilted. Through a half-open door, he saw her. Honey blonde hair, shorter now. A face he hadn't seen in 5 years, not since she walked out of the divorce hearing with dry eyes and her chin up. Amanda. But it wasn't Amanda alone that stopped his heart. Beside her stood a little boy, maybe 4 years old, holding her hand. Dark, tousled hair, a small bandage on his forehead, and a cleft in his chin, the exact same one Nicholas saw in the mirror every morning. The boy turned, and Nicholas found himself looking into his own eyes. "Mr. Reed?" A nurse touched his arm. "Mr. Brennan is asking for you." Nicholas forced his legs to move, but his mind was already racing. Amanda had never said a word about a child, not during the divorce, not one since, and the math was impossible to ignore. This boy looked exactly old enough to have been conceived before their marriage ended. Walter managed a weak joke from his hospital bed, something about dramatic ways to skip a budget meeting, but he caught the look on Nicholas's face immediately. "You look like you've seen a ghost." When Nicholas told him who he'd just seen in the next room, Walter went quiet. "Jesus, Nick," he finally said. "How old?" 4, maybe 5. After the doctor finished explaining Walter's condition, Nicholas couldn't make himself walk away. He'd built a billion-dollar company by never avoiding hard conversations, and he wasn't about to start now. He found Amanda gathering her son's jacket as the doctor finished with a mild concussion diagnosis. Nicholas. His name fell out of her like something dropped by accident. "I didn't know you had a son," he said, watching her face for the truth before she could speak it. "This is Lucas," she said carefully. "He fell at school today." The boy looked up at him with open curiosity. "My head hurts," he announced, the way only a 4-year-old can state the obvious. Nicholas could hardly look away from him. The eyes, the chin, even the seriousness in his small face was unmistakably, impossibly his own. "We need to go," Amanda said, pulling her son closer. Nicholas didn't move. "Is he mine?" The words hung in the sterile air between them. Amanda's face went white. Lucas glanced between the two adults, sensing something he couldn't name. "Mommy, who's that man?" "An old friend, sweetheart," she said quickly, then turned back to Nicholas. "Please, not now." He pressed a business card into her hand. "Call me tonight." She took it without looking at it and walked away, Lucas glancing back at him over his shoulder the whole way down the hall. Nicholas stood there long after they'd gone, his ordered, controlled life suddenly cracked wide open. A text buzzed in from his assistant about an urgent Tokyo call. For the first time in 5 years, Reed Enterprises felt like the least important thing in his world. That night, alone in his penthouse overlooking Central Park, Nicholas didn't touch his scotch. He'd canceled the Tokyo call, something his assistant had never heard him do. He searched Amanda's name online and got nothing useful, then gave up and called the one person blunt enough to tell him the truth at 11 at night, Diane, his head of legal, who'd handled his divorce. "I saw Amanda today, at the hospital. She had a little boy with her." A long silence. "How old?" 4, maybe 5. "He has my eyes, Diane. My chin. If she was pregnant during the divorce," Diane said slowly, "it would have changed everything about the proceedings, unless she never told anyone." Then, more gently than he expected, "Nicholas, if she found out after you told her you didn't want to try again, after you buried yourself in work instead of grieving with her, what would you have done with that news back then?" It was a fair question, and it cut deep. Their marriage had ended after 3 miscarriages and years of Nicholas working 16-hour days to avoid the grief waiting for him at home. He didn't have an answer for Diane. "I don't know what I'd do with a child," he admitted, "but I can't pretend I didn't see him. I'll find out what I can, Diane said, but go carefully. Whatever she did, she had her reasons. Long after call ended, Nicholas wandered his own apartment like a stranger. The home theater no one used, the kitchen that never saw a real meal, the guest rooms that stayed empty year after year. The only personal object in the whole place was a single photo on his desk. Him and Amanda on their wedding day, both of them young and impossibly happy. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Lucas is asleep. Meet me at Riverside Park, 79th Street Playground, 10 a.m. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he relived it all. Meeting Amanda at a charity gala years ago, her laugh when he spilled champagne on her dress, the way she believed in him back when the company was nothing. He remembered her face lighting up the first time she told him she was pregnant, and the devastating quiet that followed each time they lost a baby. By the third loss, something inside him had simply shut down. Amanda wanted to keep trying or to consider adoption. Nicholas retreated into the only place he ever felt in control, his work. The further she reached for him, the further he pulled away. The next morning, he stood in his closet full of tailored suits and, for the first time in years, didn't feel like wearing one. He chose jeans and a sweater instead. Amanda was waiting on a park bench, watching Lucas gather fall leaves nearby. When she spotted Nicholas, her body went tense. Lucas looked up too. "It's the man from the doctor place," he announced. "Lucas, can you keep collecting leaves for a few minutes?" Amanda asked. "I need to talk to Mr. Reed." Once they were alone on a bench, Nicholas asked the only question that mattered. "He has a hard head, like his father?" Amanda closed her eyes, then opened them with something between resignation and resolve. "Yes, like his father." It still hit him like a blow, even though he already knew. "Why didn't you tell me?" "When should I have told you, Nicholas? When you were saying you couldn't survive another loss. When you were working 20-hour days to avoid coming home. Or during the divorce, when you made it painfully clear your company was the only thing that mattered." Her voice wasn't angry, just tired, like she'd had this conversation in her head 100 times already. "I had a right to know," he said. "Yes," she agreed, "but I also had a right to protect my son from being one more disappointment in your life." She told him the rest plainly. She'd been barely showing when they separated. By the time the divorce was finalized, she'd already moved to her sister's in Boston. New city, new doctor, new life. The pregnancy had been high risk after 3 losses. The doctors weren't even sure Lucas would survive the term. She hadn't wanted to use a child as leverage, or risk everyone's hopes on another pregnancy that might not make it. And once Lucas was born healthy, you'd already made your choice, Nicholas. I watched what every loss did to you. I couldn't watch you keep our son at arm's length too, waiting for something to go wrong. So you decided for me, he said, anger rising despite himself. You took away my chance to know him. I did what I thought was right for Lucas, she said evenly. And if you're honest with yourself, you weren't ready to be a father then. Are you even ready now? Before he could answer, the wind scattered Lucas's carefully sorted pile of leaves, and the boy let out a wail of protest. I can help, Nicholas said, already moving. Amanda nodded permission, and he knelt beside his son, gathering leaf by color exactly the way Lucas instructed. You're very organized, Nicholas told him. Mommy says organization is important. Lucas replied seriously. She's a teacher. When Amanda rejoined him, there was something almost like warmth in her voice. His teachers say he reads at a 3rd grade level already. He gets that from you, the focus, the quick mind. What happens now? Nicholas asked. I don't know, she admitted, watching her son. But what about next week, when markets crash or some deal falls apart? What happens to Lucas then? The accusation landed because it was true. Work had always been his refuge, the one place he had complete control. I've changed, he said. Have you? She asked. When's the last time you took a single weekend off? He had no answer. Right on cue, his phone rang. Walter, calling from the hospital. A $30 billion merger was unraveling because investors were spooked by news of the heart attack. Nicholas glanced at Lucas, sorting his leaves with total concentration, then back at his phone. I'm in the middle of something important, he said. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Amanda watched it all with a knowing, weary expression. Go, she said. This is exactly what I was talking about. She tore a page from her notebook, her address, her home number, and handed it to him. When you've actually decided you're ready to be a father, and not just when it's convenient, call me. Prove it. Before he left, Nicholas knelt down to Lucas's level one more time. I have to go now, but it was nice meeting you. Are you coming back? Lucas asked, the question landing with more weight than a 4-year-old could know. I'd like to, Nicholas said honestly. Okay, Lucas said simply and held out a bright red-orange leaf. You can have this one. It's the best one. Nicholas took it like it was made of glass. He handled the Miyazaki crisis that day on autopilot, his mind 1,000 miles from a boardroom. That night, alone again, he saw his pristine penthouse through new eyes. The sharp glass coffee table, the white furniture that would show every small handprint, a home built for one. His housekeeper, Mrs. Chun, found him sitting in the dark. What would this place need, he asked her, for a 4-year-old boy to feel welcome here? Her eyebrows rose, and then something in her face softened. Those glass tables would need to go, for a start. Some toys. A room of his own, with bright colors. I have a son, Nicholas told her. I just found out. Congratulations, sir, she said. Children are a blessing. The next morning, instead of driving to his office, Nicholas told his driver to head for Boston. 3 hours alone with his thoughts. He called Amanda from the road. The crisis is handled, he told her. I want to show you I'm serious. No lawyers, no custody fight, just a chance to know my son. She gave him the address of Lucas's school instead. Standing outside the building that afternoon, watching parents gather in their casual clothes, Nicholas felt entirely out of place in his tailored suit. Then he saw Lucas come through the doors, backpack nearly as big as he was. And a few steps behind him, a tall man walking close beside Amanda, the two of them laughing together. The man's hand rested at the small of her back like it belonged there. It hit Nicholas harder than he expected. Of course she'd moved on. It had been 5 years. She'd built a whole life, a life that clearly included this man, who knelt down to give Lucas his full attention the second the boy ran over to show him something. Nicholas sat frozen in his car, watching a family that functioned perfectly well without him in it. His phone buzzed. We're heading home. Meet us there. He typed back. Who is the man with you? The answer came a few minutes later. Daniel. He teaches 5th grade. We've been together almost 2 years. Amanda's house in Boston was a warm Victorian with a bicycle tipped over in the front yard. Everything his penthouse wasn't. Inside, the walls were painted in warm colors. Photos everywhere. Toys sorted into baskets. Lucas was at the kitchen table eating apple slices and drawing. You came back, he said, like it was the most natural thing in the world, and pushed his drawing across the table. The park, full of carefully colored fall leaves. This is amazing, Nicholas said, meaning it. I get from Mommy, Lucas said proudly. I used to paint before teaching took over, Amanda said softly. I remember, Nicholas replied, the sunset you painted. It hung in our dining room. The memory sat heavy between them until Amanda broke it by offering coffee. Lucas insisted on showing Nicholas his room first. Sky blue walls, a ceiling full of stars, a dinosaur collection lined up like soldiers. This is T-Rex. He's the king, Lucas explained solemnly, working through each dinosaur's strengths with the same careful precision Nicholas brought to a balance sheet. Then Nicholas noticed the photos on the dresser. Lucas at the aquarium with his mother, grandparents in Florida, and one of Lucas perched on Daniel's shoulders beside a snowman, both of them grinning. Do you like Daniel? Nicholas asked carefully. He's super fun, Lucas said without hesitation. He teaches me baseball and reads me stories with funny voices. He makes Mommy laugh a lot. It stung more than Nicholas expected. When was the last time I made her laugh? Once Lucas was settled with his Legos, Amanda led Nicholas to the living room, the two of them sitting at opposite ends of the couch, a distance that felt like exactly what it was. He's asked me to marry him, she said quietly. Have you said yes? Nicholas asked. Not yet, she admitted. It's complicated, especially now. I'm not here to win you back, Nicholas said. or to disrupt your life. But he's my son, and I want the chance to know him. The Nicholas I knew would already have lawyers drafting a custody filing. I'm not that man anymore. At least, I'm trying not to be. He took out his wallet and unfolded the press leaf Lucas had given him in the park. This changed something in me. One leaf doesn't undo years of putting work first, Amanda said. But something in her had softened. No, he agreed, but it's a start. Then he told her what he decided. Stepping back from running Reed Enterprises day-to-day, promoting his second-in-command to acting CEO, taking a 6-month leave the board had already approved. I'm not asking to disrupt your life with Daniel, he said. I just want to be Lucas's father. You leave New York? Your company? For my son? Yes, he said, and the certainty in his own voice surprised him. I've achieved everything I set out to professionally. None of it means anything if there's no one to share it with. The front door opened before she could answer, and Daniel walked in, stopping short at the sight of Nicholas. Introductions followed, careful but not hostile. Amanda doesn't speak ill of you, Daniel said, shaking his hand. Especially not in front of Lucas. It surprised Nicholas, and quietly raised his opinion of them both. Then Lucas burst in to show off his Lego spaceship, and Daniel knelt to look it over before glancing at Amanda for permission. Lucas, he said gently, do you know who this is? The boy shook his head. That's Mr. Reed. He helped me with my leaves. Daniel knelt to his level. Lucas, he's your dad. Lucas's eyes went wide as he turned to study Nicholas with new intensity. My dad? I thought he lived far away. He did, Amanda said softly. But he's here now and he wants to know you. Lucas stepped closer, searching Nicholas's face. Is that why we look alike? Daniel says I look like my dad because I don't look like Mommy. Yes, Nicholas managed, his voice rough. That's exactly why. Do you like dinosaurs too? Lucas asked. I don't know much, Nicholas admitted, but I'd love to learn. I can teach you, Lucas said seriously, and just like that, the door was open. Before Nicholas left that day, Amanda made one thing clear. This doesn't change anything with Daniel. He's been wonderful for Lucas. I understand, Nicholas said. I just want my own relationship with my son. She nodded slowly. It means real commitment. School events, doctor's appointments. Not just when it's convenient. I know, he said. Whatever it takes. 6 months later, Nicholas stood in the kitchen of a brownstone he bought in Boston, just 15 minutes from Amanda's house, carefully cutting a sandwich into the shape of a dinosaur. The refrigerator was covered in Lucas's drawings. When the doorbell rang, Lucas bounced on the porch beside his mother, overnight bag in hand. Dad, I lost another tooth, he announced, mouth wide open to prove it. The tooth fairy's going to be busy tonight, Nicholas said, still marveling at how naturally Dad came out his mouth now, after years of being only Mr. Reed. Amanda handed him a permission slip for a school field trip. I know you have that board meeting. I'll move it, he said instantly. This is more important. She smiled, a real, easy smile, the kind that had become more common between them. Daniel, and I set a date, she said. June 15th. We like Lucas to be the ring bearer. And Daniel thought, you might want to be there too. I'd be honored, Nicholas said and meant every word. As she turned to go, Amanda paused. I never thought I'd say this, but you become a good father, Nicholas. Lucas loves his weekends with you. It's the most important job I've ever had, he told her, and for the first time in his life, he believed it completely. He closed the door and turned to his son. So what dinosaur adventure are we having today? Lucas grinned through the gap in his teeth. Can we go collect leaves again? I'm making a whole nature book. Dad, you wouldn't believe how many colors there are in the world. Nicholas smiled, his chest full in a way no merger, no acquisition, no boardroom victory had ever made him feel. 5 years after the divorce that nearly broke him, in an emergency room hallway he never wanted to walk down, he'd found something worth more than every deal he'd ever closed, a second chance at the only thing that had ever truly mattered.